You're watching On Demand. Please check the closing time before trying to vote or enter any competition or other interactivity in this programme, as it may not count and you may still be charged.
Duties for this one, and joining me back on the panel, it's Divertisty's Jordan Banjo, presenter and Strictly winner Aurea Duba, and making his Loose Men debut, get ready for the Dark Destroyer himself from The Chase, it's Shaun Wallace. Lovely to see you coming up today. In a moment, should lads' holidays be banned if you're in a relationship? Why one dating guru says you should never go out without your other half. Also, when was the last time you cried? Our panel will be opening up in an emotional, important chat about that after 1 o'clock. And from a good cry to a good laugh, as we always like to say, who's got pretty pants? Well, I always wear pretty pants. It's our pretty pants debate. Do our loose men favour, well, these or these? Ooh. Oh. Find out a little bit later. Right, you boys, it's nice to see you. You two have done it before.
Yes.
OK, any advice for Shaun and I?
Don't hold back.
Yeah. Don't hold back.
Yeah.
And I'm going to enjoy myself, Andy, and so should you.
I always do. I always try to, at least. That's the thing. And also, when I don't give away money, it feels so alien. You're all here thinking I'm going to give you all money. No, I'm saying, yeah, ka-ching. That noise goes with me everywhere I go. Right, let's kick things off with a controversial question. Should boys' nights and lads' holidays be banned? One relationship expert believes that it's impossible to have a healthy relationship if you're going out with your mates acting single. So, is he right? Shaun, what do you think?
I think he's completely wrong. I've just come back from a fantastic lads' holiday in Albufeira in Portugal. And, you know, if you're in a healthy relationship, there I am. Yeah. With the boys, there we are.
What a lad.
Oh, man.
What lads.
4 nights of raving with the boys. But so far as I'm concerned, if you're in a healthy and happy relationship, which is based on trust, then you should be able to actually go on your trip with your friends or your family, and vice versa. So I personally think there's nothing wrong with it, as long as actually you're happy and comfortable in your relationship, and it's based on honesty and trust, then you can go.
I never thought I would hear the day the Dark Destroyer said he went for a 4-day rave-up.
Yeah.
I love that.
Only here.
You know what?
Only here.
You know, I do come out from the library sometimes.
Really? Quite right, too.
Yeah, and
How
I wish
much
I was there.
misbehaving goes on, though?
When we went, it was just lads taking the mickey out of each other, having a great time. And, you know, obviously you're going to talk to people and have a good time and sort of dance with people who you don't know. But you know where the boundaries are. Mm-hmm. And so far as we're concerned, you know, we all stayed in, it was 8 of us together, it was 2 per room. And it was just one big laugh. And as you can see from the photographs which we took, we just had a wonderful time. And so far as I'm concerned, I'm always the sort of the butt of everybody's jokes. They want to always take mickey out of me because of the fact that I'm always giving it to everybody. And let's get the Dark Destroyer and sort of take him off his pedestal. But by and large, I've been on loads of lads' holidays, and the relationships I've had in the past, you know, the girlfriends I've been out with, they've had relationships, and it's based upon mutual trust and honesty and respect.
It can happen, can't it? You can exist as guys and girls and not have to get fluffy.
Yes,
If
OK,
that makes any sense.
yeah, I think we know what you're saying.
I mean, for me, I love my mates. You know, I've had the same mates since I was 6 years old. I love them. Would I want to go on holiday with them? Hell no. You know, because and I've done it before, don't get me wrong. I had some amazing times growing up with them and going away, but it's the same thing as trying to live with my mates. And I've also been in that place, that position, and I could have killed them. You know, I love the fact that I found someone in my life who I want to go on holidays with.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, because you can have so much fun, and I remember going on my stag do, it was an amazing time.
This is your wife we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just for clarity.
It's me.
It's me.
I'm so glad I found Jordan. We haven't stopped holidaying together. It's gorgeous.
Brilliant.
But no, I think I've found myself going on trips away, and it's been amazing. But I find myself going, yeah, but I wish I could tell Portia about it, or I wish I could share that moment.
Yeah.
And she will hate me for saying this because she went on a on a week's away with her mum.
Yeah.
And they had an amazing time in Greece. And she'll hate me for saying this because my mother-in-law is watching. Hi, Sophie. So Portia had a great time. But after the first or second day, she was missing us. And she went and had a lovely time with the kids, with her mum. But she was like, I wish my kids were here. She was seeing other family members thinking, I wish I could have shared that with... I mean, maybe she just told me a massive lie while I was trying to balance the two kids that she does all the time. But, mates are for having a pint with. For me, not for going on holiday.
See, I'm single, so I just go by myself.
That's great.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, don't feel sorry. No, please don't feel sorry for me. It's through choice. I'm really stingy. I have to buy a drink for myself and nobody else. But I quite enjoy sort of just going by myself, being completely in control. I don't have to ask anyone's permission.
Dude, this is what I find interesting about all these points.
Yep.
You guys are allowed to go on holiday. I'm married, right? So if I want to go away, I need to take even if I want to go out with the boys on a night out, let alone a holiday, it's a long run up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If I want to go out on Saturday,
I
start gauging the mood on a Monday. I'll be there and I'll be like, you all right, babe? You had a good day? How you feeling in yourself? And if the answer's good, I'm like, oh, should we get a takeaway Friday? Yeah, she's in a good mood. And I go, so weird, like, one of the boys is, like, going away and they said they want to all meet up before he leaves. That would be good to all meet up, right? And like, yeah, you should go. And I'm like, yes, I'm in. So it's like a week's build-up. It's like a week's run-up.
Yeah,
On holiday, I don't know. I mean, I went on my stag do.
Yeah.
I just got that under because it was my stag do. She let me off on that, whatever it is.
You need a pass
Oh,
for
well,
that.
look, what a lad there.
Having a great time.
That's the only time I've ever been out with my mates. That's about it. But no, genuinely, I don't feel like you need to do everything together. I think that's ridiculous. Like, all jokes aside, I think you can do stuff separately, enjoy that. It's about having boundaries, not just in terms of people outside the relationship, but also within your relationship. You should be able to respect, look, I want some time, I want to be able to go, mates, whether it is a pub for a pint, whether it is a holiday, whether I want to go to, a holiday on my own and get myself a drink because I'm stingy. Whatever it is, you should be able to do it within reason.
You just need your wife's permission.
That's it. Just get the permission slips.
Is there an actual form?
To be fair, there's probably about 50 of them I have to fill out. Insurance, everything, if I'm unfortunate to be out of the house.
Sticking with relationships, we're talking now about the news that sounds like this. Could soon be no more. Yes, marriage is so last decade, with rates falling faster than ever. So, have we really fallen out of love and getting wed? Oh, it's a tricky one. Well, you're the most recently married, what?
Yeah, 2 months.
2 months.
Someone should have told me this survey about 2 months ago. It's too late now.
So far, so good?
So, no, all jokes aside, I feel like... I know it can lean to feeling a bit like sometimes an old-fashioned thing, right? Some people feel like that. For me, it's kind of brought everything full circle. We've got 2 beautiful kids who we just saw on that picture there, posing at the wedding, bless them. We've got 2 beautiful children. And for me, getting married really, really brought everything full circle for me. And it was the best day, genuinely was. I'm saying all this now because I made a few jokes earlier about not being able to go on holiday, but it was the best day of my life. I'm not get in trouble, I'm joking. But genuinely it was, and I do feel like, if you take me, for example, right? You go back 30, 40 years ago. The fact I've got 2 kids, and before we was married, some people would have been like, oh, it would have been a bit of a controversial subject. I feel like nowadays, I've got so many friends who have families but aren't married, who have kids but aren't engaged, who've done all that kind of stuff. I understand that it doesn't... Everyone does it for different reasons, whether it's a religious point of view, a moral point of view, whatever it is. For me, I just wanted to show commitment to my lovely wife, my family, my children, and to bring everything full circle.
Do you think it took the pressure off because would your parents have been wanting you to get married all this time?
To be fair, my mum and dad, in terms of the marriage situation, were really relaxed. There wasn't really a thing about it. I think they were beyond buzzing when we told them that Naomi was pregnant and stuff like that. They were really happy. There was never any, you need to get married now and everything like this. I know for some people that has been the case, but for us, everything was really relaxed.
But Nay always wanted the big wedding, didn't she?
Nay always wanted a big wedding. I mean, if it was me, when I first proposed, it was kind of like in COVID. So I was thinking, maximum 30 guests, I might get away with this, And she was like, no, we'll wait. And I was like, OK, fair enough, yeah, we'll. We normally compromise, me and my wife, and do exactly what she wants. Right. And that's the way it works out.
Yeah, that's a great
it's going well so far.
Yeah, that's marriage, exactly.
2 months in, you have nailed it.
Nailed it.
I mean, you're right. it is old-fashioned. You know, marriage is centuries old, and I personally am a real traditionalist, and I love the old-fashioned nature of marriage. And personally, it got cemented in my mind when I first watched 4 Weddings and a Funeral. I was 10 years old, and from that moment on, I watched that movie, and I was like, marriage, wedding, that seems like the most amazing thing ever. Yeah. And it's been like this romantic idea that I've had for a really long time, that you might, you know, you get in a room, and actually my wedding doubled up as my 30th birthday. So I was like, well, that's 2 parties done in one. And, you know, you've got everybody that you love in the world in one room, finding the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. It was incredible. It was the best day of my life. Weddings are great. Well, marriage is the tough bit.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's not on the postcard, that's not on the brochure, but, you know, you work at it. But I understand it's a sad thing for me that it's going down, because I think it is an amazing thing to share with your partner and your family and your friends. But
I mean, I've never been married, and although, according to Wikipedia, I was married to a woman called Martha Bray for about 30 years. You know, marriage is not for everybody, but I think that, so far as marriage is concerned, it's a wonderful institution which still should be part of our everyday society. But you don't have to get married in order to be in a sort of loving, committed and honest relationship.
You've got friends who go back, that they've been together for decades.
Yeah, exactly, married, I mean, I've had friends who have been together for 40, 50 years and never been married. And, you know, it just goes to show it's just as strong as any marriage that has been taking place.
So, Sean, you've never been married?
No.
That explains why you're allowed to go on lads' holidays. Now I understand.
Now
He said it so confidently earlier. How's he pulled that one off?
And you've done a party and a wedding in one.
Yeah. No, we're economising.
Yeah, exactly. Blimey, that's right, put me off. A party and a wedding, that's going to cost a fortune. Right, coming up next. Do you like what you see in the mirror? When you look in the mirror, do you like what you see? The results of our... Actually, I do. Sorry, the results of our poll make shocking reading. Jordan will be opening up about his body confidence journey and sharing his story next. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Loose Men. Coming up, we'll be talking about body confidence from a male perspective, of course, and revealing the loose man who does 2,000 sit-ups every day. Competition time now, sorry. It's not me, that's all I'm saying, it's not me. Competition time now. Are you ready to win? Because have I got a prize for you, a life-changing £100,000. Lines close tomorrow at 3 o'clock, so you've got to grab your phone because you haven't got long left to enter. Laura Hamilton's here with all the details.
I am fully embracing autumn. I love the season change. And did you know that the scents and sounds of the crisp leaves crunching can actually improve your well-being? Well, I'm definitely feeling the boost. And remember, we could be boosting your bank balance by £100,000.
That's a truly life-transforming amount of money.
£100,000 is like getting £8,000 extra a month every month for an entire year. It really is a life-changing amount of money.
The clock is ticking as lines close at 3 p.m. tomorrow.
I think I heard something. I'm out of here.
For another chance to win, text cash to 81119. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 781119. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY36 PO Box 7558 Derby, DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close tomorrow at 3 p.m. Good luck.
That's right, as Laura said, lines close tomorrow at 3 o'clock. £100,000 up for grabs. I don't want you to miss out.
Andy, calm down, back in the room.
Sorry.
It's not always competition.
I get so excited about the money.
I know, it's not always competition.
I get so excited about the money.
There we go.
3
Well
o'clock.
done, mate. There we go.
3 o'clock tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Now, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest loose man of them all? Is it me? What? Oh, sorry. Oh, for heaven's sake, graphics. I was going to throw it, but I better not. 7 years bad luck. Right, in a poll for this very show, 97% of you told us you don't like what you see when you look in the mirror. So, what do you say when you see yourself in the mirror, Jordan?
Do you know what? I think it's actually quite a scary subject. I think it varies for a lot of people. I don't want to put everyone in the same boat here, tie everyone with the same brush. For me personally, I would probably be in the 97.1%. Like, you know, I'm not massively happy. I don't look at myself and go, do you know what? I'm completely comfortable with my own skin. I'm a lot better now than what I was.
Right.
I feel like I feel like this gets blamed for everything, but especially for people with like my generation, a bit younger, social media, you cannot help but compare yourself to everything that you see. You know, I mean, like if you take the most popular TV show for my age, younger, a little bit older, it's Love Island, right?
Yeah.
You go on there. Everyone on there is an Adonis or a god. Everyone is beautiful. Everyone is stunning. And you compare yourself. It becomes the norm. It's what people digest, talk about. I'd come back and talk to my friends about it. You go on their Instagram, you go on everyone, and I'm not blaming them. That's incredible that you look so good. But my point is that even when they have the more relatable person on there, I still look like a jacket potato compared to them. Do you know what I mean? Like they're still a beautiful person, and it's a weird one because speaking of my own job, when I was a younger kid, I was like really heavy and I lost a lot of weight. Then I got a bit older. We went into lockdown, and in that first lockdown, so like, when I was younger, you know, quite a big kid, lost loads of weight, diversity, this stuff, all that, and like it's part of my job to keep fit, right? And with all the rest of the boys, I'm surrounded by a big group of dudes who every single day, even if it's not said, it's like this unsaid, subconscious kind of like competitiveness that, you know, it's your job to look your best, it's your job to be your best, this and that. When really, it's our job to be as functional as possible and be able to just do what we do. But you sort of have this conceived notion in your head, like me and my brother, right? I remember we was on tour a few years ago, and because of what we are so used to, what we should look like, my brother was like shredded. I'm talking like a literal 8-pack, right? And he had some food the day before, some bad food the day before. Like he ate something where he was like, and he went, oh, bro, I'm not even sure if I want to go out and do this scene because where we get topless. He was like, I'm not sure, I'm feeling a bit fluffy. And I was like, bro, I feel exactly the same. When I tell you, I look back at those pictures now and go, what I would do to look like that. Look, there we go. Literally, like, abbed out, ripped to shreds.
Good Lord.
And I remember going, I don't know if I feel comfortable going out like that.
Really?
Genuine. And it's such a weird thing that in your head, what you perceive to be normal, what you compare yourself to, isn't necessary. And something else I learned, I look at these people in this room and look at you guys. Let's be honest, we might have a conversation about it. Do you actually care what I look like if I take my top off, yes or not? Like, why would you care? Like, if I took my top, you might go, oh, OK, cool, but everyone's going to crack on with their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't walk out and everyone's going to go, oh, my God, and then spend the next 3 years talking about whether I look bad or good or this or that. You might think something, goes out your head. No one cares. Everyone's got their own life and their own problems. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think it's a generational difference?
I think it certainly is a generational thing, as I say, in relation to sort of social media pressures. I mean, so far as I was a kid growing up, I was like an ugly duckling who grew into an ugly duck. I was always the last person picked on the football team. But as I've grown older, the one thing I'm always conscious about is keep myself healthy. And, you know, my mother and father suffer from diabetes, and the one thing I always do, I exercise every single day to try and keep myself healthy. And, you know, exercise is not for everybody, but I think everybody has a responsibility to keep themselves in shape because it helps you physically and mentally.
And you are a keen, even, can I say your age? Do you mind?
I'm 62.
OK, you say it for me.
I'm 62.
But you love a sit-up, you love a bit of exercise, and you look good on it.
Yeah, I do 2,000 stomach crunches every single day.
2,000!
But that's not for everybody. But I still think that people do have a special responsibility to actually look after themselves. You know, the NHS is a wonderful institution, and if we can look after ourselves both physically and mentally, then we'll be doing the NHS a great service, I think.
It's so hard not to compare yourself to other people, whether it is on social media, whether it is through your community, your family, and it's hard because people make jokes about it, and how you look is always an easy target. And we're all really, you know, we're all at fault for looking in the mirror and going, oh, well, you know, I look a bit, you know, timber around the sides, and, oh, my gosh, my hair's receding, oh, my gosh, I haven't got any hair. Sean, together we can get through that.
What would you tell your missus? If your missus says to you, so, all right, how do I look today? Is your default answer, you look great?
Well, no, this is the thing, but she will always dismiss whatever I say, even if it's caveated or whatever. My wife is stunning. She looks beautiful. She has done when she was pregnant, when she isn't pregnant, any time of the day, she does look great.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But she won't listen to me. She'll look in the mirror, think she looks awful. She'll ask me, I'll say, you look great. She's like, oh, you're just saying that. No, I don't know what you want me to say. But the thing is, I think as long as you're working on yourself, I think it's really difficult to not look at yourself and think, oh, OK, I don't look great. But as long as you're working on yourself, focusing on the positives, whether it is a mental health thing or a physical health thing, then surely we've got to get to a place where we're just focusing on that.
Yeah, and you know, the best thing is, you know what? Love yourself. You know, that's what God made you. That's what you come out. Just love yourself.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, as well,
So true.
we as dudes, I think, like, we're quite harsh on ourselves as guys, right? And everything's sort of expected to be taken in stride and as a joke. Like, I was doing my radio show during the lockdown, and during lockdown, I put on, like, 3 stone, right? I put on a lot of weight.
Really?
And it took me ages to, like, shift it again. And so, like, there's me in lockdown, and then there's me now, right?
Yeah.
So I came out of my radio show, and as I come out, this guy pulls up in the van next to me, puts his window down and goes, hey, I could tell you ain't been dancing for a while. And I was with my friends and stuff. But, like, as a group of boys and a group of lads, we're all expected to go, oh, yeah, that's funny. And then, you know, he drives off, and to him, he's had a bit of lad banter.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're all meant to be like, oh, that was cool, that was funny. But, like, really, that stuff hurts, you know?
Yeah.
Like, for the next month, all I thought about was, like, I didn't want to go out. I was like, are people going to recognise me from being in diversity, but think, oh, he's too big? It really, like, it genuinely really affected me for it.
And you got over it.
Yeah.
And you look amazing today.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's good for you.
Thank you,
That's
mate.
good for you.
Thank you,
No,
mate.
good
Thank
for you. And do you know what? We're all human. At the end of the day, we are all human. Right, coming up next, we're talking tattoos and grown-up adults who are too scared to tell their parents that they might have one. But who here is still too scared to tell their parents? I have no idea who they could be talking about. Plus, we have an emotional conversation about the importance of men crying. We're sharing our stories next. Welcome back to Loose Men. Yes, the loose women have left us to our own devices once again. Getting involved with me this time is Jordan Banjo, Aurea Duba and Sean Wallace. Still to come, it's the age-old question, and I show you with my lovely props. Does one wear boxers? I think this will get a bigger ooh, or briefs. We will be revealing all a little bit. Sorry, I'm not. Not me. But first, we're talking tattoos. More than a third of 18 to 29-year-olds now have a tattoo. Wow, that many admit they were too scared to tell their parents about. Anyone here relate to that? Oh.
Yeah, I told you.
There we go.
Yeah, I told
there
you.
they are.
I think you more
The man in
than
the
me.
20s and the man in his
Yeah,
30s.
yeah. Not from Jamaica. That's what we like, yeah?
Oh, look, my parents are from Nigeria.
Same.
Same, there we go.
My dad's Nigerian, right? And this is the thing. He was always been super against tattoos. Never wanted me, my brother, and my sister ever, like, didn't want... It just wasn't even a conversation, right? I remember one time, my brother, Ash, the grass, rang my dad and was like, I was 18, he was like, oh, Jordan's in the tattoo shop. The phone call I got put me off ever wanting to get a tattoo. And then I always wanted them. So now, you know, I'm married, I've got 2 children, I've got, like, my own home, this and that. You know, I'm an adult with my own family, right? And it was only last year I started getting tattoos because I was that scared to bring up the conversation. So I was 28 years old and I was like, I just can't bring up this conversation. I ended up driving around there. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I was like, knocking on my dad's door. I was like, Dad, we need to talk. I think he was thinking, right, do you need a lawyer? What's going on? What's happening? And I was like, I want to get tattoos. And it was a real big conversation between us and the family. I softened the blow a little bit. For my first tattoo, I got a portrait of my dad right here. So I was like, that will soften the blow. I got a portrait of my dad, and then I felt awful that I got a portrait of my dad, so I had to get a portrait of my mum. I had to balance it up a little bit.
Oh, mate, that's great.
Yeah, it worked out in the end, and now it's fine. But it's that initial, I think it's like, culturally, like, even though you're a grown man, your own family, your own this, it's kind of like, the thought was that I'm doing something you don't want me to do. It's scary.
I've been terrified of telling my parents anything, even since leaving the home at 21. I should have done what you did.
Smart,
And
trust me.
put your parents' faces on. They can't complain about
exactly,
that.
boom.
My first tattoo was actually my wedding day, and presumptuously, I got it tattooed a week before I got married. So
brave.
I turned up at
Wow.
the wedding because I wanted it to be there. And my dad's face, he just literally was like, just kissed his teeth. He was livid.
I'm guessing it was before COVID, right?
This was pre-COVID, yeah.
Everything was getting cancelled.
Yeah.
Delayed for 3 years
But
on
no,
your own.
I've got tattoos now with both my kids' names. I've got 3 tattoos. I've got Roman and I've got Jeannie on my arm. And my mum was like, I never thought you were a tattoo person. I didn't know more, right? And I'm like, I'm 36, going 7 years old, Mum, but I'm still carrying.
Hang on a sec, he's
I'm gonna
62.
disappoint her.
I'm
And he-
62,
he
and I
hasn't
say I
had
come
one
from a
done.
Jamaican household where, as I say, although I was disciplined, I could do what I like. And on this arm, I've got the word mastermind, and on that arm, I've got the arm champion 2004.
Andy, what about you, mate? You got any tattoos?
Well, I mean, the thing is, right, I just haven't had the courage to... I mean, literally, no way. I'm still too scared.
You know the trick. You know the
Yeah,
trick.
I don't know.
Get the face on your arm.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the trick.
Here we go. But it's you, Dad.
It's you.
It's really good. No, I'd just still be too scared. And also, the needle thing. Yeah.
It's a bit stingy.
It is a bit stingy, yeah.
You know what?
You're better off with that.
I had a wisdom tooth out this year. That's enough pain for me. That's enough pain for me. Right. Now, one of the reasons Loose Men started was to encourage us blokes to open up about our feelings and our mental health. The message is to talk, and for me, it's also about crying. You should never be ashamed to cry. And that is me. I mean, a lot of you will remember when I left Live and Kicking, I cried to the whole nation and cried and cried. But do you know what? I remember, and always remember, I was in my car and a bus came back when buses had the open back, and the bus conductor was like waving at me, and I was waving at him, and he was waving at me, and I was thinking, please hurry up, the lights change. He went, oi, mate, you made me cry in front of my missus when you left. And I just thought, it's so powerful, it's such a great emotion, but do you know what? It's like letting off steam. So I have no problem crying anywhere, anytime in front of anyone, not a problem.
I think men generally should have no problems in terms of expressing their emotions. And, you know, men have a tendency to be sort of macho and, you know, we can handle it and we can cope with it. But the reality is that if you do have problems and you actually build it up inside, it gets to a situation whereby you're too ashamed or too proud to say anything, and sometimes it might be too late. So I think it's always important to actually express your feelings. And so far as I'm concerned, if I've got a problem, they say a problem shared is a problem halved. And I have no problems in terms of, you know, expressing my feelings. If I've got problems or issues with friends who won't judge me and, you know, will listen to what I've got to say. And sometimes I would accept any criticism that comes my way. But I think it's very, very important that we as men, you know, show the human side of our character. And, you know, don't be frightened to express our feelings, because sometimes if you don't, it can be a problem.
I mean, no one man is Superman, do you know what I mean? And we all have issues, we all have problems. You had quite a pressurised year last year, didn't you? You were under a lot of pressure last year.
Well, I think it's fair to say that I grew a reputation for crying. In my time doing Strictly, I could look at a picture of my son and I'd start welling up. So it's really easy for me to go. I sometimes need to screw the tap back on. But
here we go. Where's the picture?
Yeah, don't for too long. But I felt very privileged, actually, to come on this show this time last year and be asked to be a loose man, because I think it gave me a platform and a voice that I wouldn't otherwise have had. And it was a day after, when I came on and did the show last year, it was the day after I had my first panic attack. And the reaction from the audience, everybody watching the show, was absolutely incredible. And actually, I wouldn't have said it had I not been on Loose Men. Yeah. I felt like it was amazing to share that with the guys, and there was an incredible reaction. Since then, I've had a few more panic attacks, and I think I've decided since that I'm definitely going to talk to someone. I think it's important to find a medical professional. I remember Ian Sterling was sitting where you were last year, and he said, it's the same thing. If you fell down the stairs and broke your leg, you would go and find the medical professional. I think that's really important. And I think for me, what I found really hard, it's been a really difficult year, and we're all going through it. Even the legacy of lockdown, we're still starting to deal with it. And for me, the pressures of being a parent, I spent 12 months away on tour. This time last year, I was still doing the tour, and the guilt that came with that was huge. I've since come back, finished the tour, now getting back into being a parent, trying to recover from that guilt of being a dad, and trying not to feel like you're a terrible dad, trying to feel like you're not a terrible husband, and also trying to put food on the table. We've tried to move house. We've spent 3 months trying to move house, and in that time, my little boy was starting school. His first day at big school was the very next day. And I remember all the pressures were starting to build up. And for me, I felt like I was pretending, because as parents, you spend a long time trying to deflect all of that adult stuff away from your children. You're trying to make sure that they can be kids. And I remember on the Sunday before he started on the Monday, he was just being a 4-year-old. He's been a bit of a tearaway, didn't do what I asked, and I got really angry to the point that he said, Daddy, he started crying because he knew how angry I was. And it got to that evening and everything started to build up and I hadn't spoken to anyone about it. And I remember I was just washing up and I could feel it building, all the pressure, everything that I pretended, everything that I'd kept to myself, it was just building, building, building. And I was washing up and I just blew up into floods of tears. And it was another anxiety attack. My wife she hadn't seen it the first time. It was the first time she saw it and didn't know how to react, but she was amazing, really supportive. And I think the difference was, I hadn't said anything. I kept it to myself, exactly what you say. You know, as soon as you start keeping it to yourself and building it up and not allowing yourself to talk about it, then it's got to find some way of blowing up. And for me, I hadn't spoken about it. I hadn't actually found that shoulder to literally cry on. And after that release, it was much better. But for me, it's about finding someone to help me manage that stuff, and it might be a medical professional.
And it's funny you talk about medical professionals, because if you deal with Americans, they all very openly talk about having a therapist.
Yeah.
People will say, I'm going to the gym at 12, I've got lunch with a mate, and then I'm going to my therapist, which we just don't do in this country.
Yeah.
It's not very British to openly talk about problems. Therapists, medical professionals, I think is a lovely way to put it. Go and find a medical professional, in case you're scared of that word therapist and what people might think or judge. You spend your life surrounded by other guys, other lads. Has that been easy for you when you're feeling down or feeling under pressure or want to talk? Because it's all lads, 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 we're on tour. How do you then, who do you talk to?
In a weird way, it's kind of been helpful because where we are all so close, we are like a big group of brothers. If it ever really is that bad, you can speak to them. But I feel like sometimes, as friends and family, it's our responsibility to be willing to listen. I think that's as big as we were chatting earlier. That's as big of a thing as anything. But until someone's ready to talk, no matter, even if everyone in this room said to me, Jord, we're here for you if you need anything. If you yourself aren't ready to chat about it, it's not going to happen. And that's the problem. I feel that's where some people have that barrier. And, you know, a lot of the boys can talk. For me personally, I can, but I struggle with certain things. I mean, like, when my wife gave birth to our second child, so my little girl, Mimi, she was really unwell. It was around this time, actually, in that picture, she was really unwell. She ended up getting sepsis. So she was in hospital for, like, a couple of months, right? She was really, really unwell with it. And I remember standing there, I had, like, a 10-week-old baby, obviously my little girl. I had my son, who was about not even a year and a half with me as well. And the doctor's chatting to me, and he was like, look, you know, essentially, stuff is really, really not looking good. Her body's not dealing with stuff well. You know, there was talk about, like, induced comas, this and that, and she's really struggling. And I was like, hang on a minute. Like, at the time, Nay would have been, what, 27? I was like, she's 27, I'm 26, standing here with my 2 children. And my reaction, I went, oh, OK, well, no worries, make sure she's all right. I gave my mother-in-law a call. I was like, can you come down? She looked after my son. I took my daughter to rehearsal. And everyone was like, George, what's going on? Are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Inside, I was, like, freaking out and upset. But I was like, if I start panicking and I start doing this... And I didn't talk to anyone about it. And that tour was, like, to be blunt, I didn't enjoy it. It meant to be, like, the best time in your life with your friends and this and that. And all I did was, like, sit there and worry, but try and act like everything was fine, which makes the issue worse, right?
Yeah.
And to Auré's point now, you know, we got through that and, you know, touch with my wife's absolutely fine and we made a recovery and it's all good. But there are times now, whether it be work or whether it be at home or it be this or that, if I'm stressed out and I try and bottle it up and hold it in, the only place I recognise it is it comes out towards my kids. Because it's like, you love them so much, but obviously they're the source of all your love, but also
all your anger.
When you've got a 4-year-old bashing a fork against the wall, you're like, please, just stop. And if I don't chat about it, my reactions are stronger towards that. And I think it's good to air that stuff out.
But don't you think that, like you said, we've got so much better in this country, and thanks to this show so much, are getting people to start talking about their issues. But like you said...
to talk. Yes, absolutely it is.
But we've got to listen. Like you said, we've got to get much better at listening, and I think sometimes it's easy to offer an opinion, but sometimes if someone's struggling, just open your ears and listen. Yeah, that's the right thing.
Be a good listener. Be a good listener. Right, thank you very much, Sheds. Thank you very much. Right, coming up next, some loose laughs for you with our underwear debate. Yep, we're asking the question, also, who is your hero? Our answers might surprise you. We'll see you after this. Oh, I love this song. Welcome back to the fourth and final part of Loose Men. Now, I have a question for you. Boxers or briefs? Well, fashion brands are apparently moving away from the idea that briefs are old-fashioned. So I'll ask you again, boxers or briefs? Now, can I just be clear? I think these are trunks.
They are trunks. I'll say they're trunks.
Yeah, they're trunks. Yeah, those are trunks, OK. Very white trunks. Won't be like that for long.
Thank you, Andy. A little insight to Andy's personal hygiene. Thank you, Andy.
I'll have you know I use Vanish. Other whitening brands are available, of course. And these are briefs. Yeah, OK, fine. Sean, boxers or briefs?
Oh, definitely briefs. Definitely.
Oh, right, yeah.
Absolutely.
Where's the briefs going?
Yeah, OK.
Oh, and then they pull that one out.
Oh, my life! Wow!
You would have to wear briefs if you look like that, Sean.
Yes,
That
Sean.
is
Where is that?
gorgeous.
That looks lovely.
That was on holiday the other day.
OK,
The other
nice.
day?
You're always on holiday.
No! Come on, not
to
always
go.
on holiday.
When do you record the
other day.
chase? You're always away with the lads, by yourself.
Unbelievable.
Oh, my life. All right.
I had that very discussion with myself this morning. I'm boring, I'm sorry. I genuinely was this morning. I was like, I looked at a pair of boxers and a pair of briefs and I couldn't make the decision, so I went commando.
Hey!
But no, I've got large thighs, so actually I need a little bit of something in between. Do you know what? What about you, George?
Where's he going with this?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I should have left it at commando.
Oh, yes, exactly. Now, you're a dancer.
Yeah.
So do you need any extra support or anything?
We'll edit that out, I think. That was the support.
No, they won't.
They won't edit
No,
that out. I'll
that's
keep it in. I actually don't own a pair of briefs. I don't own a
What,
pair.
you don't own a pair of these?
No, I don't own the briefs. No.
Oh.
I only wear trunks.
OK.
Because when I think boxers,
Yeah.
I think the ones that the ones like picnic, they're a bit wispy.
Yeah,
they're quite
and maybe
wide.
they're
And they're
cotton. And very, made out of shirt material.
Look, you could jump from 3 stories and float down.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
that's what boxers are sort of.
Do you know what? My first job, I worked in Top Man Oxford Circus flagship branch, and I think it's important for people to know I worked in the flagship. And my first job was hanging boxer shorts, $4.99 each, code 69 on the till, and that is what I did for days and
Sorry,
days.
what was the code?
Code 69.
Easy, Andy! Easy, Andy!
It was.
Easy.
The button you would press is $4.99, and you press that number. That's it.
And now we know why Top Man went down the pan. Andy Peters.
Oh, right.
Filthy vanish.
OK, right, competition time. Lines close tomorrow at 3 o'clock for your chance to win a huge cash prize. Here's Laura Hamilton.
There is nothing better than a walk in nature to beat the autumn blues, right? Well, I'm not only here to boost my mood, I'm also here to give you another chance to boost your finances with a life-changing cash prize. It's a whopping £100,000.
Yes, one of you could pocket this life-changing amount of money and it's all tax-free.
£100,000 is an extra £8,000 a month, every month, for an entire year. And I don't want you to miss out.
Right, while I'm off to check out the roe and muntjac deers that populates this enchanted woodland, you can get your entry in. But you haven't got long, as lines close tomorrow.
There's a guaranteed winner for every prize, but you have to enter to be in with a chance of winning £100,000. So don't miss out, and here are all the details.
For another chance to win, text CASH to 81119. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 781119. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY36 PO Box 7558 Derby, DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close tomorrow at 3 p.m. Good luck.
No, seriously. No, don't look at the clock if I'm ever on Beat the Chasers.
Yes, don't look at the clock. Don't look at the clock.
if I'm on
Look
Beat
at
the-
Bradley
Okay.
and concentrate on your own ability.
OK, fine. But for you, look at the clock, because the clock is ticking on your chance to win this prize. Remember, £100,000. The lines are closing tomorrow at 3 o'clock, so don't miss out. Don't look at the clock, look at Bradley.
Absolutely.
Fine. Right, so today during the show, we've been talking about our friends, our families and our loved ones and how important they are to all of us. But, Sean, you've gone one step further, haven't you?
Yeah, at my home, I've got a big mural called My Inspiration. All my black heroes as a kid growing up, and the centre of that mural is my mum and dad.
Oh, amazing.
that.
Lovely, lovely. And is it something that you've been adding to over the years?
No. As I say, that's what I had painted. When I originally moved into my first house, I had it painted in my attic, and I used to invite people up because there's a big picture of me when I got called to the bar. And they said to me, how comes you're in the company of such illustrious heroes? And I said, well, if you can't be a hero in your own house, where can you be?
Yeah, good point, good point.
That's true, that's true.
Already got any heroes?
Being no surprise when one that my heroes are my kids. They're totally my inspiration. I did SAS Who Dares Wins a couple of years ago, which was easily the hardest thing I've ever done. There was a really low point when I won't even tell you what happened because you kind of had to be there. It was on the telly. You can catch up somewhere, and don't because it was awful. And the only person that got me through it was my son. It was thinking about my son, not wanting to let him down. And I mean, it was awful. Somebody could have breathed and blown me over, but just the thought of my son and not wanting to let him down was the reason I got through that particular challenge. And so in any dark time or difficult time, I always think of my kids as my inspirations.
How about you, Jordan? Heroes?
Heroes. I would say my older brother, my big brother, Ashley Banjo. He's a personal hero of mine. Thank you. He got a round of applause. I did it. No, genuinely, he's that's me and him. When I think of Ash, like diversity is still together. Nearly 14 years on after winning Britain's Got Talent, and that's down to him. You know, there's not a lot of people I can think about who's come from like a talent show or a reality TV show and, you know, as a big group are still together, still being able to have fun, earn a living, do all this kind of stuff. And that's because of him. A lot of sacrifices he's made, a lot of decisions he's made. And, you know, we are, of course, really fortunate and really blessed. And, a lot of that is thanks to my big brother, Ashley. So I've got these two. I've got my mum and dad on my arms. I need to get a portrait of Ash on my back now or something like that.
I'm just about now.
Do you know what? I don't really have any heroes. Obviously, my family are so important to me. I always just think of people when I grew up that I wanted to be. You know, I wrote to Philip Schofield when I was like 16 to say, please, can you do anything to help me get on television? And that was genuine, and now he's a really good friend of mine. I used to watch Noel Edmonds in the House Party and watch that and go, gosh, I'd love to be like that and be on the television and be making television. And here we are now on television, so it works.
And you know what? You're a hero. People look up to you. You're fantastic.
Yes, Andy.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Well, look, that's it for today and for another Loose Men. Hopefully, have you enjoyed it, boys? Very much so. Good to see you.
Fantastic.
Pleasure.
The Loose Ladies are back tomorrow live at the usual time of 12:30. Until then, have a great afternoon and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.